Okay, perfect. So, hello everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, based on the time zone. And today we have a seventh session on Tableau CRM Analytics User Group. Quick introduction about myself. So, I'm co-leading the CRMA Tableau User Group, and today we have speaker Ojoswi who would be giving us a walkthrough on Tableau Pulse, which is the most hot topic currently in the Tableau environment. And also, I have a co-host with me, Jambesh. He would be, if Jambesh are available, you can give your quick introduction so that we can get started. Okay, no worries. So yeah, over to you, Ojasvi. But before you start, first of all, I would like to congratulate you for becoming a social ambassador for Tableau. So that's a great news and a great day that we are taking this session. So, yeah,
Thank you, Navin. Congratulations to you as well. I know you have been also put in the list of Tableau Ambassadors 2024. A big shout out to you and everyone in the Data Fam. Thank you for finding time on your Friday for attending today's session. Welcome. Today's session, I promise, is going to be as fun as I am. It's going to be on Tableau Pulse. It's a net new feature. Let me start sharing my screen. Let me know when you can see.
it's visible.
Awesome. So Tableau Pulse is a new feature. It's released in web only. So for those who are using server in prem, it's not available. It's on the cloud. As of now, the best part about Tableau Pulse is Salesforce Tableau. They are extending this capability to their entire platform. So if you understand the fundamentals of Tableau Pulse, then you could reuse this learning and this knowledge and expand it to the entire CRMA platform. And I know leaders like Navin and everyone in my LinkedIn contact who are coming from the CRMA side of things, I see they have already started talking about it. This is hot topic, and I feel this is amazing because you can now not only create something that looks like this on my screen, but these are real time, and you could also make this portable. There are there are AI capabilities, natural language capabilities, no code, low code capabilities. I can keep talking about Pulse, and that's exactly what we will do. But before I get to that, a little bit about myself. I've been a data fan since 2012, 2013. It's been almost 12 years doing Tableau. Recently, I got selected to be a Tableau ambassador, and it's all thanks to you for all the love and the support that you have shown. There is a net new retail and consumer goods TUG, Tableau user group coming up. We plan to kickstart that in the fourth quarter of this year. I have had the opportunity to mentor a few folks, as well as through the Data Visualization Society's project, and I'm thankful for that. It's been an amazing learning journey for me as well. And I've made 5 times into the Data Fam Roundup. I have also experienced co-leading the Toronto TUG between 2017 and 22, and I retired from that. I had my reasons. Data to visuals is my passion project. And when I'm not doing data, I'm either cooking up a storm in the kitchen or doing photography. Uh, and I know that was a lot to go through. Let's jump back onto Tableau Pulse. The way I plan to do this, I will take you through a practical real world scenario end to end. We have some time on our side. And when I've done with my show and tell, I would let, because we have a small crowd here, we can do an interactive. You can post your questions in the channel, and then we can go through that. Not only in Pulse, but if you have any Tableau platform related questions, feel free to ask me. I will share at the end my handle to LinkedIn, and I'm open to receiving your questions and connections there as well. All right. So, jumping into what you see on the screen is no longer a Tableau published workbook, but the actual Tableau cloud. It's my personal cloud instance. I use it for my own projects, and I also use it for a show and tell like this today. I'm on the Tableau Pulse page. If you didn't know how to do that, let me show you. On a brand new instance, you can click on your cloud server. Hopefully that works now. Right. And this will bring you to your cloud instance. And then there should be a Tableau Pulse on the left panel to navigate to Tableau Pulse. If it is not, then it's probably needs to be set up. So if you are the site admin or the server admin, if you're not, reach out to the site admin, server admin. If you are the admin, then once you click on settings, this extra piece on the left, and then scroll down, there is this Tableau AI under the general tab. Tick that. Once you tick that, you would be able to see the Tableau Pulse option. So now that it's already available to me, I click onto Tableau Pulse and it brings me to this net new, very newly designed, very Salesforcey web portal where you can do everything on Tableau Pulse. I have 3 metric definitions already done here. If you haven't, in the initial prior to 2024.2, when Tableau came out with this Pulse on cloud, prior to that, there was a concept of metrics. Very similar to that, this is an enhanced on steroid capability. So to create a net new metrics, we will get to that. But let's take a moment to understand one of the Superstore metrics that I have here. We can show you how it can be configured. But on my screen currently, I'm showing the weekly profit ratio. This is the Superstore data set. This is a metric that I'm already following. On my smartphone, I have Tableau Web installed, the app installed. And the fun part is when I open that Tableau app and I open Pulse, I can see the very same metric on it. I don't know whether you can see it, but this is the portability I'm talking about. Once you configure it here, your users, as well as you, everyone who is following it, will be able to see this metric. And the best part is because it's built on top of the AI engine, you can ask questions. You can ask a question, or you could even look at any of these suggested questions which Tableau AI is spitting out, going through after having gone through the metadata of the data behind. So if I were to ask which subcategory, this is Superstore data, and I'm hoping that you are familiar with the Tableau Superstore data set. If you ask which subcategory had low weekly profit, it will break it down like so. You could also give feedback, and I think Tableau is very interested in its building out and expanding the capabilities of Pulse AI. So I think that's a good thing to do. It breaks down and shows us that tables were not profitable. And we know tables in the East is a problem. That's an insider joke. But here is the question that was answered. Another question, which segment has high weekly profitability ratio? That is visible to you as well. If you're not satisfied with these questions, you can ask more questions. Top 10 profitable orders. And then they couldn't find, but they came up with suggestive answers. So let's look at this. Which subcategory had high weekly profit ratio? And there it is. This is the answer. Okay, what else can we do? We can look at the breakdown of this metric. We can filter it by all of these pre-configured filter categories. We can look at ship mode. We can look by subcategory. We can look by category, segment, country, region. All of these options are available to us. The big number over here on the top is the metric. And this period, what I'm highlighting on the screen, the previous and the current, these are all configurable. So as a creator, once you have a Tableau creator license or once you have the permission to create your own metrics, imagine the use case that you work for a team who uh, who has a data set that is certified and prepared. And by that, let me go back here and show you what I mean by that. If I were to look at everything in the database, I can select my own data sources. These are all the data sources available to me, and it would be if you have access. One of them has a tick mark beside it, the green dot over here. This is the certified data set. And then I could use this data set to create my own metrics, which is relevant to my team. Imagine you're in supply chain, or imagine you are in finance, and your team has prepared a data set for you and the entire team to consume and self-serve on. You know that data set is available to you and it's certified and it's all cleaned up and properly designed. You could go ahead and use this to create your own metric. Enough talk. Let's get into the build part of it. So I would pick up a new metric definition. Let's look at Superstore dataset. I could pick one of my other data sources, the vehicle group certified data source, but we will come to it once we have spun through what I wanted to share with you. Superstore dataset, the first step is to connect with the data. Then you might want to give it a name, demo, CRMA, metric. It can be anything meaningful. Description is optional. Here is a permission that you can set. I'm the site admin, so I'm letting anyone who can edit. But yeah, if you wanted your inner team, you can set up that, add a group, like permissions on the server. If you have done that before, you could set permissions based on a user or a group. That can be done. But for now, let me give access to anyone. Now, the measure. The first thing we have to select would be a measure on which I want to build that metric. Let's look at profit. Let's call this CRMA metric profit. Yeah. That way I can come back to it and still understand what happened. Aggregation. It can be a sum, like a sum of profit. It can be an average, a median, maximum, or a minimum. Very similar to the concept that we are aware of in the Tableau environment. It's a similar aggregation. Tableau being a columnar aggregator, you want to tell it what kind of aggregation your profit measure is. I've picked some. Now, here is the fun part. If you want it to be a running total, that is every instance your previous is getting added, then you choose that. But here I would want the absolute value for that data point. So I'm choosing non-cumulative. Add definition filter. This is where you can choose whether it's a region, uh, you want to filter it by region or by country or what have you. I don't want that right now, but if you did want to have, you could filter your data down specific to your region. Say your user group, your audience is interested only in the last 2 years of data. Then you could go ahead and then say, where is my date field? All right, let's think about if your audience is interested only in the west of the ecosystem, then you can go ahead and filter your data to say, show me everything for my west region. Say that you're building this for your VP of sales in the west. But I'm not going to do that. So that's a capability that's available to you. And I wanted to share it for the completeness of this show and tell. Okay, time dimension. This is a must have. So the first must have is a definition, the name. And then the second must have is the measure, which we chose profit. And then the third must have is the time dimension. I want to pick the order date. And you can also have additional advanced time settings here. The minimum granularity, I can make it weekly, a monthly, quarterly, or annual. Let's choose a week. So every data point is a week in the data set. Time period comparison. This is the fourth must have. Here it is comparing with prior period. Let's explain what this is. In the time comparison, if you look at this piece over here, this is where it comes in. My present metric is this big number 19.8K, and my prior period, this is my current period, July to September, and my prior period would be April to June, right? If I were to choose this as prior year, watch how it switches. July to September, that's my current 19.8. But here, my comparison is with prior year, July to September of my prior year. So you can switch this and make it more relevant. There is a way to have both. I'm choosing prior period in my first option, and then I'm keeping the primary as prior year. So now you have both the prior year comparison as well as the prior period. There can be an option, and I'm not going to do this today, but you can create an advanced definition as well. What it will do, it will pop up a GUI, an interface, where you can drag and drop your metrics and put it into the shelves measure. Then you can drag your time dimension, and then you can also put your filter. Ship mode, say for example, is standard class. All of these capabilities exist, but we are not going to touch it today. The way I look at it is if you needed additional information, then it would be best to create it in the data source during your data design process. That way, it's available to you and do not have to happen in the design time. That's my take on it. But hey, I'm still learning. If you come across a scenario where you have used this advanced definition, by all means, let me know. I'm happy to learn. Okay, so we figured out the time comparison, prior period, prior year, set it all to both. Now, the other mandatory field is the adjustable metric filter. When you hover over the eye, it tells you what it has to do, what you expect to do. And this is the case with everything here. If you don't know what you're doing, just hover over the eye and it'll give you a good definition of an example of what is needed. So here, the viewers can adjust these filters to create related metrics. So everything that we set up here is going to show up as a filter condition once the metric is defined. If I were to choose region, I also want to select the ship mode. I want to have the city. I want to have what else? Subcategory. These are four other filters that I want on the top. Number format. This is profit, so it's currency. I can also choose it to be shown as a percent, right? But that would be my profit ratio. But this is dollar value, so I choose it to be currency. I can choose which currency it is. I'm keeping it USD. If my Canadian friends so insist, I can choose a CAD. That's up to you. And then let me show you the second tab. So all of this is the definition. On the insights, which is the second, you can mention there are a few other options. Value going up. If you leave it as neutral, it will show up as blue. If you show it that anything that's going up, is that a good thing or a bad thing? In this case, profit, a dollar value that is increasing, would be a favorable thing to do, right? So I'll choose favorable. But say, for example, this was not profit, but this was the number of tickets in your IT department or number of complaints that you have received. That number going up wouldn't be good. So that would be unfavorable. It switches it to be a red or pink in this case. But this is that. Value going up, favorable. And then it goes on to a couple of other options, record level outliers, identifiers. I haven't used them as much, but record identifier is the record level outlier I haven't used, but the record level identifier is a must have. What it's trying to do is you need to define the unique key. In this case, I know I'm not seeing the row ID here, it's a hidden field, but order ID is close enough. So I'll select that. Identify a name, you can mention that. It's not a mandatory field. I'll leave it the way it is. And then few other settings. How do you want to call a singular value? Like this is profit, profits, or order, orders. So a record, records. This is just the example. Trends and changes. Current trend shows the current trend to communicate the rate of change. There are a few options. You can turn it off or on. I'll leave it on. Trend change alert. You can turn it off or on. And this is to communicate to your users the direction of fluctuation in which the metric is moving. Contributors, top drivers, these are some of the other options. I encourage you to revisit them when you use it. But for now, let me save the definition. Once I hit save and I say follow, and I go back to my metrics page, my Tableau Pulse home screen, you would see that this definition now shows up. I can click on it, and there you are. Everything that we have set, it's showing up. You can see the worm over here. You can ask questions. You can go back to the breakdown. You can further select it by country, city, subcategory. And look, because we made it a favorable, they are showing up as green. Let me take a pause here and see if there are anything else that you wanted me to focus. Navin, would you be so kind? Is there anything on the question answer?
Nothing as of now. I
Okay,
guess you can complete your part and then maybe I can ask you a question after that.
absolutely. Okay, so now that we know there is how to set up the Tableau Pulse for Superstore, I feel it might help if I shared the other data source. I promise I'll be quick. This is the vehicle KPI groups. How I use this, let me give you a quick overview of the data lineage. I work for a team that uses Geotab. It's an API that can collect data from the cloud. It's an attachment on trucks and devices. This company is in the process of logistics. They have these massive trucks, warehouses, and when a truck like these 18 wheelers, the big ones, when they go to the distribution center, they offload and then they load their cargo, and then they move from one point to another. So vehicle KPI is all about that. I had to download, this is a web data connector. So we had to connect to the data using a web data connector. We couldn't do any blending, could not do any join with the data. So I used Tableau Prep to connect to each of these data sources and then prepared a flow to spit out the output. That output is the vehicle KPI plus groups data source. And I'm going to now build a pulse. I have something already built. Probably in the interest of time, we can talk about that. So here is the pulse metric that I designed for fuel consumption of those trucks. If I do here, once you create a definition, if you ever have to edit it, and I know we all have our team, they want to tweak it and what have you. The three kebab menus on the top, edit definition, will take you to the same page where you, what we saw earlier, how to configure. Edit will let you do something same. The data source is selected. That's the vehicle KPI plus groups. I've given it a name, fuel consumption. The first measure that I want to the measure that I want to have as my metric is the total fuel consumption liters, right? And then it's a sum, it's a running total. I could have chosen non-cumulative and made it look like a data point, but here I'm choosing a running total. And then date field in my data set is the local date. And my comparison is with prior period, prior year, very similar to what I had for the example we showed. Not using any advanced definition, there are a bunch of filters: location one to location level one, location level two, and vehicle class. Insights, they are set up. The lowest granularity is the serial number, and with that definition saved, here is my fuel consumption metric, the breakdown, the overview on first page, and then the breakdown. And I can further ask questions. Show me by location level one, by vehicle class, level two, US, Canada, and things like that. This is something nifty. My clients, my users required this to be available to the leaders. It's more of a go from point A to point B kind of a job use case where decision makers would want the portability of these metrics on their smart devices, and we had to create this. Hopefully, with that, let me pause for some questions. Naveen?
Yes. So as of now, we haven't got any questions, but I have few of them. So how can we do a customization? So suppose I want to build something like I need to ask data some questions. So how flexible would Tableau Pulse would be for me? So here maybe it sounds like I'm talking about the Copilot thing, the Tableau Copilot. But is it something that we can do in Tableau Pulse as well?
Yes, like the ask a question option is available, and you know it better than me. It's the first release, so it's
Mhm.
still getting better. I have seen that ask a question in Pulse, and we talked about it today. We can ask questions to Tableau Pulse. If the data is available in the metadata, it will spit out the answers. If it is, if we can make our questions and align it to how the data, the fields are named in the metadata, I think Pulse does a better job, but the capability is available.
is this something out of the box that it can answer? Like even if it is not in the metadata, is that some AI inbuilt into Tableau Pulse that can have us the answer to that particular question?
I don't think so. I haven't come across a scenario where I've seen some rocket science happen, but hey, we
Okay,
don't know. They're still improving the model. And in Einstein Copilot, which I have kicked around in the beta version, and it's also available to me on the other cloud instance. I don't have Tableau Plus yet,
okay,
but I have access to beta, and I've played around with Einstein Copilot, the net new feature. There, the capability is much more robust because once you have access to your entire ecosystem, right, then it can go and tie back to questions that are in the entire data set. If you bring in those relevant data set into your data definition metadata, I think it can unlock a lot of capabilities. Does that answer your
sounds good.
question?
Yes, definitely. One more thing I might have missed out in the earlier when you were talking about. So how does Tableau Pulse come? I mean, is it included in the licenses or is it something add-on?
Yeah, I have Tableau Pulse is part of. There are additional features like additional capabilities to Pulse in Plus. I don't want
Okay,
to mix it up. So Pulse comes vanilla in Tableau Cloud. It's available to everyone who has Tableau Cloud. I just had Cloud. It was my cloud instance that you saw for the show and tell. It's available, but there are a few other features of Pulse, and I don't have that list handy, which unlocks itself when you buy Plus.
okay, sounds good. Okay, uh, I am actually good from my side. Jambesh, are you there? I mean, you have any questions you need to ask? Meanwhile, if Jambesh is not available, we have one question in the chat. Maria has asked. I'll just read it out. So I don't have full access with Tableau, but no, Jambesh, sorry, we can't hear you.
Yeah, coming back to Maria's question, I
Yeah.
don't have
So the
full access with
question,
Tableau, but Tableau is part of the platform we are using internally. Again, I cannot see the settings for me to enable the Tableau Pulse. How do you think? Fantastic. Good question, Maria. You probably want to talk to the Tableau site admin or the server admin. If you ask, you will be able to find who that admin is and raise the request to them to enable Pulse for you. If your Tableau in the organization is Tableau on the cloud, then Pulse is available. If it's not on the cloud, if you're using server, then unfortunately Pulse is not has not been rolled out yet. Hope that answers the question. You can leave a thumbs up if you're satisfied. This was a good session. Thank you, Naveen, for inviting me.
yep. Thank you for the insights that you gave us. Tableau Pulse is definitely a new thing for all of us, and you have explored a lot from your side. And hoping to hear from you soon on the Tableau Einstein Copilot as well. So,
Absolutely.
yep.
I don't
And
have it ready, or else I could have shown Einstein Copilot right away in this session. Let me see. Tableau.
meanwhile you're presenting, I'll just answer to Jambesh. I mean, Jambesh, if you can write the whole question so that we can read it out.
Yeah, I think I have access to the beta right now. I'm logging in so that we can look at Einstein Copilot over there, maybe together, and then explore it. Have some time on our side, so maybe we can use that to do that.
Before we jump into Einstein Copilot, I have one more question. You can maybe read out from Q&A section.
Oh, thank you, Hugh, for joining. I have a creator license that validates through our own hosted Tableau server. Do you think I can get access to Tableau Cloud for testing? Yes, absolutely. So you have a creator license and you have your own hosted Tableau server. So your server is hosted. Unfortunately, on hosted servers, you wouldn't be able to access cloud. It's only the but you could sign up for what I did. I have my cloud, so I have access to Pulse. I wanted to kick around Einstein Copilot, so I signed up for their beta program. I will share the links to you. I know how to find you.
And there is one more question by Jambesh. See that?
Yes, I'm setting up the. Let me go back to Q&A. Where is that? Yes, say for example, you create a metrics. I think okay. You create a metrics and people follow that metrics, but they should not have access to certain region. A good question. So when I create my metric, as you saw, I can filter out the region. Where is that? I can go back to the show and tell. Let me go back to sharing my screen again. Entire screen, share. So let's take this one. Let's take this metric. In the definition itself, edit definition, I can then go ahead and filter out where is that option. There are two ways of doing it, actually. You could either set up a group specific to those who have access to edit this metric. You can do that, and then they can select only West. Or, say, for example, you want to look at just the West data, then while creating this metric, you can filter out your data to show only West metrics and then give access to those users who want to see relevant information. Does that answer the question? Um, I have the Einstein Copilot available. New. When I do, what's that? Um, when I create a new workbook, that's when the Einstein Copilot shows up. It's on Pulse as well, but for the sake of this show and tell, let's look at Superstore data set. I connect with it. And then right here is the genius, the Einstein shows up. You're about to use Einstein, and they give you, you can click on Learn More. They will open a web page, Tableau Help, which goes through the documentation in detail. I found it very helpful. Everything that I've shared with you today, I've self learned by reading their help, kicking it around, and practicing. And same with Einstein Copilot. So once you accept that, now you can start asking its Superstore dataset. You can say suggestions. It will spit out a bunch of questions here. Which subcategories generate most? And if you're not satisfied, you can click this regenerate button. Now it will give you three more questions, and you can keep doing this. 9, 12, n number of questions it will spit out. So I think that goes back to your initial question, Naveen, that how intelligent is the AI? I think when you were talking about Einstein Copilot, the capabilities are much more because this has been designed to be that genius, to be that suggestive, large language, natural language intelligence, artificial intelligence that's sitting on top of your metadata to help you build. And when you select the question, it starts spitting out these, and you can iterate through all of these questions by using a new sheet, and then you can keep asking these questions. If you're not satisfied with the question, you can even ask, show me top 10 subcategories by sales. And then it should be able to spit that. You don't have to do no dragging and dropping. You're asking a natural language question, and Tableau is now building our. No, it didn't do it as well. I asked for top
Or
10. It
top
just gave
one
me.
actually. Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt. So you have written top one, that's why.
yeah. Look, not as smart as I thought I would be. Control C, Control V. Nothing wrong with the intelligence. It's just my typo. And when I correct my question, let's see what it does. Okay, Tableau good. Tableau 1, Ojo 0. So it has spit out the top 10. I think this is fantastic for someone who is starting off. If you're coming from a non-tech world, this could be a great starting point. But yes, it doesn't discount the work we have to do with preparing our data. Superstore data has been well prepared. It's been cleaned and shaped and sized, ideal for Tableau's consumption. It's columnar. It has all the varieties of it. But if your real world data is garbage, and you're asking questions on top of garbage, then your output will be garbage. If it's clean, you will be smiling. If the data preparation, you've cut corners, there is no what do you call that, shortcut to data as a journey. If you don't do due diligence cleaning up the data, if you're not asking the right questions to your stakeholders, the output isn't going to be good. Anyhow, I'm glad we can could throw in some of the Einstein 1 capabilities in this show and tell. Absolutely love to share. It's been a good session.
Thank you so much, Ojo. Definitely. I mean, we had a good learning session today. The two new products that we have got in the market.
My pleasure.
So, yep. If anyone has some question, you can post it or we can close this call.
I see
I
the
guess, yeah.
users level security question from Jambesh. So I think this is nothing new. Whatever the security protocols were there in Tableau applies to Pulse as well. It's just the same idea. The concept is similar. And I think we talked about it. If you and I are connected on LinkedIn, we can keep the conversation going in the interest of time. Yes. And I know you're having tech challenges today. So we can probably do this another day.
Okay, then we'll wind up this call. Thank you so much once again. And once again, congratulations for becoming an ambassador.
Thank you.
And yep, we'll
To you
talk
as well,
soon. And
Naveen. We'll have
thank
to
you so
work
much.
on something. Yeah. We have a bunch of, for those, I have a bunch of sessions coming up later. Follow me on LinkedIn. What was it? I should have
Sure.
not stopped my share. I could have shown my end page. But yeah, by all means, I will share my LinkedIn handle, and then we can go from there. There are a bunch of other topics I'll be talking about later this month. Every week, there is a tug that I'm presenting fresh new topics. If you're on my LinkedIn, then we can go from there. Thank you for the opportunity,
Sure.
Navin. It's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the very best. Jambesh, take
Thank you.
care. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Bye.